Howard, and I just finally completed this book called Clifford and Mr. Orr. It was grueling research. I was never going to find out everything. But I'm really excited because I hired a sketch artist for this book, and she's sitting right here, Maddie Wiener. She made beautiful pictures for the book, and she did the front cover. So I'm very proud of it. This book is about Emily Clifford mainly, and her family, and their life between 1915 to 1920. And Emily Clifford's best friend was somebody you may have heard of but don't know who she is, and that's Albion Fellows Bacon. I always thought that was three guys. It's one woman. Albion Bacon and Emily Clifford were in the Chamber of Commerce building preparing for a meeting. They were both members of the Women's Committee of the Chamber. Lizzie Shanklin had tagged along because she and Emily had been out shopping. Albion was chair of the committee, but the upcoming meeting wasn't about flies. It was about Evansville College. "Why shouldn't we have teams like the men?" Albion complained. "What are you talking about?" Lizzie asked. "The teams are a part of the capital campaign to raise $500,000 to bring Moores Hill College to Evansville," Emily explained. In a luncheon today at the YMCA, Mayor Benjamin Bossie chose two teams. If I understand what George told me, they have what they're calling a purple army and a white army. "Purple and white?" Lizzie asked. "Purple and white are the color of Moores Hill." "I see, go on." "Bossie was chosen colonel of the Purple Army, and William McCurdy is colonel of the White." "Army?" Lizzie interrupted. "It was the mayor's idea to have two opposing teams. He decided that a competition would help get more donations." That sounds something like a man would figure. Each team has 15 captains and vice captains, and each of those is supposed to recruit others to work under them. "Which one is George on?" Lizzie asked. "My brothers. Sam is captain, and George is vice captain. They're part of the White Army." "I think it's magnificent," Albion blurted. "The committee had purple and white buttons made up, and when someone donates, they get a button that says either the whites got me or the purples got me." "Yes, that does sound cute," Lizzie agreed. "What I don't like," Albion continued, "is that they're adamant women will not be allowed to raise funds for the college. When will we break the stereotype against us? We finally have a woman in Congress, yet we aren't able to vote. And what about that ridiculous article in the newspaper saying that if we would by chance get the right to vote, we would need to ask our husbands whom we're supposed to vote for? Look at everything we've achieved in our work with the Red Cross. We've gotten over 6,000 people to join, raising over $6,000 in funding." Emily and Lizzie looked at each other, then to their friend. "Is this about boosting for the college, or is it about women's suffrage?" Emily asked. "I guess my mind is on suffrage," she replied. "I feel as if we're no closer today than we were 5 years ago." "I feel the same," Emily agreed, being caught off guard by commotion at the door. "It sounds like the women are beginning to arrive. As for the purple and white armies, I'm ready to present my plan to those who come today." "I think your plan will work," Albion agreed, then motioned for the ladies to come in and find seats. Emily sat next to Lizzie, while Albion sat at the front table with the Women's Committee officers. She was joined by Irene Erlbacher, Alma Wittenbreaker, and Daisy Beach. As soon as the women got settled, Albion called them to order. She then cleared her throat and began to speak. "The men have told me that women are not to solicit funds for the college. They made it clear that we can only cheer them on, nothing else. In fact, if you've noticed in the newspaper this morning, it gave assurance that we won't solicit funds. Instead, the newspaper advised us that we should have a parade. I don't know about you," she continued on her soapbox, "but I'm tired of being told that I can't do things a man can do. Look at the things we've done for our city. We've cleaned up a lot of the slums. We've worked to make our public schools exceptional, and now we're working at the Red Cross, making bandages and other surgical supplies for the soldiers. We can do anything a man can." The women applauded. Albion continued. The first thing I want to do is make sure we understand what the Chamber of Commerce is doing to raise funds for the college. She then outlined the plan as she understood it. She told the ladies all about the purple and white armies. She told them about the 2 colonels, the captains and vice captains, and she told them that the campaign had had a strong financial start. When Albion finished, Emily came to the front. Now that you know what the men are doing, the question before us is, what are we to do? I read something in the newspaper a few days ago about the suffrage movement and how some are backing down. I agree. It's hard to stand and face the ugliness that's been happening in other cities and even other countries. I don't know why, but perhaps it has to get this ugly before we can win. I do know that we need to stand our ground. Some of us, unfortunately, are succumbing to plain silliness. Some have gone so far as to assure their husbands that if they let us have a vote, we'll ask them who to vote for. You might be wondering what this has to do with the college campaign. The answer is simple. The reason is that it's the same thing. The men are telling us that we're not allowed to take part in the fundraising campaign. Our meeting today was supposed to be about creating enthusiasm and enthusiasm alone, as if the men need to become any more enthusiastic than they already are. I've heard it said of our meeting today that it will consist of women who had not had the privilege of a college education. How many of you here have been to college? Raise your hands. Emily looked around the room to see many of the women's hands raised. I myself had 2 years prep at Dana Hall and 1 year at Wellesley. If it hadn't been for my health, I would have been able to finish. Looking around the room, it looks as if a lot of you have college degrees. So what are the men talking about when they say we're uneducated? Who is saying this, Mrs. Clifford? Surely not our husbands, one in the audience interjected. Definitely not my husband, Emily replied. I don't know about any of yours. I do have a plan, though, that might help elevate our role to that of a fundraiser in the fight for Evansville College. We're going to interrupt the Chamber of Commerce meeting tomorrow, but it's a sweet plan. It'll be like attracting flies to honey. At the family dinner table a few hours later, Emily made an effort to keep the next day's plan a secret. All the women vowed to keep everything quiet, even though they were instructed to call 10 other women that evening if possible. It was their way of spreading the news about their covert operation. How was your meeting? George asked Emily. Jimmy and Jim Orr also joined them at the dinner table. Why don't you tell me about your day first? How much have the teams raised? We've gotten $186,000 in pledges so far, George boasted. Did you see the giant thermometer? I saw one, Jimmy replied, a huge thermometer on City National Bank. We have one on the Woods building too, George continued. Every day at noon, the fundraising teams are going to meet at the YMCA for a luncheon. After every luncheon, the men will proceed to each of the thermometers to update the totals. Jim Orr stepped into the conversation. I plan to raise money too. Whatever I receive in pledges, you and Sam can put on your team. Thank you, sir. We'll take every dime we can get, George replied. Oh, and also, William McCurdy bowed out today. Said he's got too much work to do on the hotel. So Howard Batten is taking his place. That could have been a big problem if you hadn't found someone so quickly, Jim noted. Howard is certainly gung-ho, he replied and looked back to his wife. So, how did your meeting go this afternoon? Oh, well, we've decided to be very supportive of the Purple and White armies. And how will you be supported? A parade, perhaps? A tableau? Oh, well, we don't have everything ironed out right at this moment, but you can be sure the women are ready to cheer the men on. This is Carrie with Bob Dog. Bob Dog was, he hated the Kaiser. That's a World War I reference. Yeah.